Hi, hello, this is JulesTheHuman here, and welcome to the JulesTheHuman Anime Hour. I'm one of your hosts, JulesTheHuman, and every week we go out into the world and watch a little bit of anime, and then we come back here and talk about it. And today is the second time we're going to be talking about anime BNA, brand new animal. I keep saying brand new anime when I write it out. I don't know why. Brand new animal. We're talking about episode 5 through 8 this week. If you are like, hey man, I want you to talk about this anime, we have tons of anime in the chest that have been submitted by either me or Matt or the community. So there's a ton here that needs to be picked up out at random. So next week, when we're done with BNA, we're going to pick a brand new anime out here. I added Steins Gate. Matt just recently added Ascendance of a Bookworm. Don't know anything. I've only seen I've heard about some Steins Gate, never heard of Ascendance of a Bookworm. But if you have an anime and you would like to add it to the chest to be picked out randomly, $5 super chat on YouTube or 500 bits on Twitch. $5 super chat on YouTube or 500 bits on Twitch, and give us the name of an anime, and we'll chat about it possibly next week or the next week after that. We have a ton of anime that have been reviewed and rated here by us this season. We have a lot of episodes already, but this is for season 3. Some S, A's, B's. We'll find out where BNA drops on this list next week. But I don't go on these anime journeys alone. I go with my co-host, Matt Galley. Matt, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing pretty good. Just been, playing some more Expedition 33. Looking like I'm gonna get back into some Helldivers 2. Baldur's Gate 3 has had their, big patch. There's a lot of games pushing content right now. My plate's so full. It's enough slices.
That's enough slices.
I literally can't decide, and then I get overwhelmed by the big games that I have looking at me. That I'm like, I'm just gonna play these silly small
These silly little guys.
games.
Yeah. I have stopped playing Expedition 33 because I don't want it to end, and it's weird. I'm like, I'm here. We are close to the end of the second act, I guess. I don't know, really. I assume it would be because I put in a lot of hours in Act 2. I'm like, I just want to live in this space, and I really got to just buckle down and finish it because I want to know what happens.
I'm forgetting if you've ever played any JRPGs before this one, like Final Fantasies or anything like that.
Yeah, I played some Final Fantasy 7 when it first came out back on PlayStation, whatever, with the discs and stuff. But a lot of turn-based games, nothing as big as this. This is probably the JRPG that I put the most hours into. Definitely, I have definitely started some, but I'm like, this one has got me going.
Yeah, I definitely keep getting emotional whiplash with that game and have to like take breaks after certain plot beats and stuff.
It's a lot.
Reveals. I'm just like, whew.
But with that, I have been reading more manga, so I'm continuing my JoJo's Crusaders. JoJo's Journey, and I just purchased, and they're on the way, my first entry into One Piece. I do not know One Piece. I bought the first 3 omnibuses, so I will have up to volume 9. We'll see. We'll see if I'm the guy.
Nobody, you better not put that in the chest.
Let's watch One Piece. No, today we're talking about BNA, and I gotta say with BNA, it's weird. I'm in a weird spot with BNA.
I have found myself in a weird spot as well.
Because they said these premises, and at the beginning, I'm like, is that what we're doing for this episode? And I'm like, okay, that's fine. This is cool. And then, like, as we're in it, I'm like, this is pretty cute. I'm like, this is cute. This is fun. Oh my God, that little character's face makes me laugh, whatever. So it's like weird because they give me these things and I'm like, what are we doing? And then by the end, it's like, okay, I did kind of enjoy that. And it was fun. So it's like weird with these 4 episodes specifically. Like
with every episode, because they're so like self-contained, so to speak, in terms of like premise and such. I definitely find myself engaging with the show in a way where it's like, where are the parallels to like real life?
Definitely.
What is the show trying to say? Because if we're being honest, it's not, as we've continued into the show, it's not really animation wise, it's not really doing anything stunning, groundbreaking. It's doing a lot of things that are safe, and I'd even say samey at times, which is like, it's fine. It's just, it's not gonna, you know, blow my socks off or anything like that. It's just doing things that I would consider serviceable, but the story and the themes that it's presenting are what is engaging me more with,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's like in this first episode we get into, we kind of have like a fill in, like kind of Jackie Robinson-esque like
Yeah.
character. And as we're going through their like backstory moment, I'm like, oh, wait a second. Oh, wait a second.
This
This
is very real life.
asshole. I,
Yeah.
you know, I feel sympathetic towards what this show is presenting. So it's like I'm connecting with it on that level in many ways, which I enjoy, but it definitely does leave a lot to be desired in other areas.
Yeah, so let's get into it. Episode 5, Greedy Bears. What happens in episode 5?
Michiru joins a local baseball team after showcasing their incredible pitching capability, discovering that baseball in Anima City is played to the death. The mayor sends Ogami to investigate into the sports betting that goes on as the Bears ask Michiru to join full time, sending them onto a winning streak to the dismay of the coach owner, who is being paid to have his team take the fall, rigging the games. The coach once played in the human world, but endured prejudice until he hit a breaking point, also hitting one in the also hitting a
Oh,
breaking point in the current day where he steals all the betting money. At the finals, Michiru discovers the players are being paid as well, going on to inspire them to retake the field, and the coach returns and refuses to continue to be a part of the rigging of the games.
so this is kind of like where that sort of instance I was talking about earlier, where I was like, is this what we're doing? We're doing a baseball episode here. I kind of wanted more of what's going on. We are like almost halfway done with the anime. The only season that we have, 12 episodes. Are we doing this? What is this little baseball episode? But they continue to, and also like you said, they're not doing anything groundbreaking with the animation, but with all the little baseball characters that we see, I am in love with these guys. These guys are the funniest little crew. I think they said her name in the next episode, but her name is Jackie the raccoon. I cracked up every single time Jackie's face was on my screen. I was just like,
I'm not sure
fucking
how
cute.
voice performances in English, but in like in the sub, it's very Michiru, catch the ball.
It's
Like
very like that.
it's just
Yeah.
like
It
she's
definitely helps.
stretching out her like the last word she's saying and stuff like that. I don't know. It's her
Yeah.
actions that really make the character over the top silly. And a lot of the bears too, like there was one what this one single frame that I grabbed during the attack
Look at
sequence
Jackie's face.
of one of the characters
Okay.
is just like little dot and three
You
face.
have it up?
Yes, I'm like this is when like the mole came up under the base
Yeah.
and hit one of the bears, like his little face just looking around, and then it's just a cut to this in frame. Amazing. They're all the
Yeah.
bears are just so funny. I loved the team. I loved immediately Michiru takes the field, and yeah, Jackie, she's like, everyone back up Jackie, and everybody's like, woo, we're
Yeah.
a team. And it's like, then she's like, oh, we're killing people out here.
Yeah, so we get to the baseball game in Beastman in Anima City, and baseball apparently is a duel to the death. No different than how their world. I guess it shouldn't be a surprise because that's kind of how they set it up. How the world is that the strongest survive, and it's a duel to the death. They fight, and they're like, we're playing baseball, but if you survive, then that means you win. They have the rules of baseball, but you can kill some people. So we have Michiru doing some crazy stuff. She also is just, I feel like this is gonna come back to us, but she is very just nonchalant with her powers. In this episode, in episode 7, she's
Mhm.
just flying around. She's just doing all this stuff, and then even Ogami's like, yo, you should not be doing that stuff. Like you need to hide. Like this is not okay to be doing this. But in this episode, she's just like throwing stretchy arms
Yeah,
to
I
catch
mean,
a
at
ball.
first when she throws it, I'm like, that better not be like just a throwaway gag. Like that has to be somebody has to notice that, right? And when she ends up getting called down to the field, I'm like, okay, I'm glad we went somewhere with that because if everybody just could refuse to acknowledge that just happened, I would have been like, what are
You
we
up there?
doing?
You up
Yeah.
there? We need you. Get over here. She becomes the pitcher, and this is sort of the beginning. She becomes the pitcher and saves the Bear team. We find out that Flick, I think Flick is their name, the head mob boss guy. Uh, we find out that the mob we've been talking about these past couple episodes is in charge and the head of the baseball gambling ring that's happening, and this has gone onto Ogami's radar and the mayor as well because dodos went extinct, and they're like, this is if baseball's killing people, like, yo, we should kind of stop that. It's kind of bad. But we get a lot of the baseball team, a lot of this little squad of characters. They're living in sort of poverty. They're just kind of in the slums of Anima City. So this is the first time that we're seeing like sort of a class difference. I don't think in the past episodes we've seen that where there's been
The haves and the have-nots type
yeah,
deal.
because we've seen how, you know, in one of the past episodes the women try to gang together to be stronger and be as a collective because the male, you know, the whole thing with that.
Mhm,
But we actually see this sort of just silly little guys not sort of living their best life in Anima City, and that
mhm.
all this stuff that's happening in these 4 episodes really like changes my perspective. And I think it's going to change Michiru's perspective if it hasn't already, that like, yo, this isn't the Oasis. This is still running as a human city or human
Yeah,
tendencies. This is not the
exactly.
Oasis that Beastmen should live in.
Which that's always kind of like I feel like the what the setting of a city is kind of meant for. Like if the city is going to be the prop up, like oh we're going to this place and it's a huge city, that's what happens in cities. There's so much going on in, you know, in these stories and in the real world that it's given a light under lenses of the societies that we're in, real world capitalism in this,
World
you
War.
know, universe. It's not really capitalism, but it's survival of the fittest, I guess you could say. How, you know, the disparity between people that can thrive in those types of environments and the type of people that don't really have the skill set to necessitate to success in those conditions that they are presented. So they end up getting, you know, pushed under the rug. They end up getting worse conditions. They end up getting you know,
And
we're gonna put all of this housing out there where we can just put people and they won't bug us. And then naturally, those are the people that are again the since the weak are there. The people are going to go there just specifically to exploit the weak people, and
mhm.
which we get to see in the next episode as Michiru kind of goes down there to try to push those like water purifiers on people for lifetime installment payments or something like that. It's just
Yeah.
like, you know, there's plenty of parallel to real world cities that we and
And
the economic effects that that has on different classes.
yeah, and it takes it a step further because like it's painting it vividly on the screen. These characters that are beastmen, they were born this way and they can't change it, or they can't be stronger in whatever sense it is that'll get you higher in Anima City. And a lot of times that does happen. Like some people and humans are just born in a shitty spot, and they do have to work harder to get to the top. And there are people that are have it easy, sort of, kind of like how we saw that social influencer or whatever. She's the mob boss's daughter. She can do get into the human world a little bit, have knock off phone to stream and stuff. So it's like on the screen we're seeing, okay, they are not the strongest people, and they are dealt this shitty hand because of that's how they're born, and they this is the lifestyle that they have to
Mhm.
live in because it
Yep.
is difficult. And it's like,
But
man,
then,
you could
like you said,
see
you
it.
have somebody like the dolphin, Midu was her name or something like
I think
that,
so.
where
Mina.
like Mina, she is somebody who Nina, she was somebody who was born like she's not strong, she's not a strong person, but she was dealt a very good hand because she's just the daughter of a mod boss. So like
Hmm.
she's just had she's lived in the lap of luxury since the second that she probably came into the world, unless he had a daughter after becoming a mob boss, but I don't think, or I mean, before becoming a mob boss,
Hmm.
but I don't think that's a realistic thing to um, imagine
No.
for that character.
We go into a little bit. She Michiru continues to just use her power. She shapeshifts her legs into a cheetah's legs, and they specifically call it out on the while they're playing the game. The commentators like, look at that cheetah go. Um,
Who's going to be faster than the ball or the cheetah?
yeah, it was a fun time. But she continues to use her powers, and it's like, yo, Ogami, our Silver Wolf, wants the manager to help take down the gambling ring. But then we go into like his whole backstory, like you were saying, it was just kind of casual racism. Like that's what the parallel was. It was just casual Beastman racism. Here we go.
Hmm.
It's the Beastman. It's like, yo, and it makes you a little uncomfortable. And it's like, yeah, that's what it was. And in baseball, it was kind of a big deal as well. Like when that we had famous um, black baseball players that were trying to break into the white sport of baseball, and it was like, yeah, that's and you know what's going on now in the world. So it was like a whole lot, and it's like, man, this is, and you can feel how jaded the manager was. Like it
Yeah.
was just, I just want to do what gets me by, and I don't want to, like, he's done fighting. Like
Hmm.
after his whole moment of what happened, he's like, yeah, I'm this is my life, and I'm just done. I'm gonna do the minimum, and
I'm
I'm
sure
gonna.
that, like, yeah, after that happened, it's like, well, now you've just created the case if like because I think he's presented as like the first Beastmen in like human baseball or something like
Yes,
that.
yes,
It's like
yes.
you've now just made a case that
They're not.
we should yeah do that we shouldn't allow Beastmen in baseball because look what happens, blah 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 blah. But it's like obviously he was pushed beyond limits and not treated equally like the
And that
people that he was
happens.
existing and coinciding with. So I'm not saying it was necessarily his fault, but then
No.
I imagine that that creates him specifically, if not Beastmen entirely, getting blacklisted. And it's like, well, now what is there except to do whatever this is that they're doing in Anima City, which is the death sport for betting, because it just comes back down to money. Because in that city, everything comes down to survival of the fittest and money. Actually, the two things. But
Yeah.
I feel like, but it's like somebody that's really big and mean and tough wants your money. They can just take it too.
Hmm.
And who's gonna stop them? Ogami, maybe, as we learn later, but
Learn later. Yeah.
I feel as though he's definitely I forget what the male version of Mary Sue is. In a way, he's just like, he's immortal. He's literally an immortal being, so he can't
What?
die, but he can't be
Spoilers.
everywhere at once. He's not
Yeah.
omnipresent, even if he's like invincible, so to
Hmm.
speak.
So I was sort of waiting on the whole episode really because of like what was going on. I was like, okay, there's this whole gambling ring that there's two, A story, B story, gambling ring sort of thing happening underneath the baseball. Then we get Michiru and the crew just baseballing it up, being silly guys. I'm like, okay, this is okay, this is fine. I don't know why we're doing this. And then it kind of goes into the manager's backstory. I'm like, yes, this is like they kind of just waded you into the water, and then it's like, here we are. This is what we're trying to say. I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. This is what I want. This is the stuff I like. I'm like, make parallels to life, make the Beastmen be something that's not just the Beastman. Like I'm reading, or I just read Planet Tess, which is a manga. Uh, there's two omnibuses, and it's like about outer space, and it's sci-fi a little bit, but like they're using outer space as a vehicle to tell the story about human, about life, what it
Exactly.
means, and
That's
it's
what
like,
the setting of your story is supposed to kind of impose. Is
mm-hmm,
like the setting gives limitations to what your story can like what type of situations your story can have inside of it literally. You can't, set a story in space, or I'm sorry, if you set a story in space, it's very easy to convey themes of like solitude and isolation and stuff like
mm-hmm.
that. So it's like it's not as easy to do that if you're setting a story in like a high school. It's like in a different way maybe, but like you know what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say.
yeah. Like when you set up the story with the Beastmen being outsiders and showing the humans actively against this thing that they deem as other, it's like,
Exactly.
okay, I can see where some good storytelling can be told,
And that's
and
why
here we are.
it's so important that this story is told with a city full of animals, but more importantly that city exists in a world of humans
Mm-hmm.
surrounding it. It kind of, I don't know if I mentioned it last episode, but that's kind of like one of the big like things that could separate it from something like Zootopia, where it's like, okay, we have a city full of animals, but it's like that's the universe we exist in is animals are the people. But in this
Mm-hmm.
story, you have animals are a different thing, evolutionary to humankind, human beings, so they're segregated into their own city. And, we literally see World War II, the mayor being held in a very concentration camp-esque environment. So, yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's all there. It's all here for you.
Yeah. And that's the part of the show that I really like. So,
Mhm.
but at the end, the bears versus the killer animals, which are just insane with huge ass weapon bats, sort of.
Oh my
The
gosh,
manager
the shotgun
stole,
swing.
yeah, the manager stole all the money in the safe. Ogami returns the money, and the man with the blue eyes is watching Michiru, which we find out a lot more about in the next episode. And the baseball team make friends with Michiru, and we have a whole new cast of characters we can pull from later on. Episode 6, Fox Waltz. What happens in episode 6?
Michiru is told the story of Silver Wolf before meeting the Silver Wolf Order cult in the slums of Anima City, recognizing her friend Nazuna as their leader. The two uh the two talk as Ogami and Rose discuss the implications of the cult seeking to settle in the city. Michiru questions Nazuna and her belonging in the cults and helps Nazuna meet Mayor Rose, but Nazuna was allowing Michiru to help despite knowing her wishes and her flaws. Michiru ends their friendship as Nazuna declares her name dead.
Yikes. So we finally get Nazuna, this friend character that we've been seeing some flashbacks to. But before that, we got the Silver Wolf legend, that 1,000 years ago, this creature has been alive for over 1,000 years, but he's been saving Beastmen. And then we go into Nazuna, how they both. It made it seem like they both almost died in the accident because they were both in the hospital. So they don't really, we don't really actually see the thing happen, but all implications is that they were both hurt.
Mhm.
And Nazuna was kidnapped, got kidnapped. Michiru didn't really do anything, saw it sort of happen, and was just kind of like, okay, well, I don't know, this kind of sucks. I love that the the crux of the Silver Wolf clan coming is that Jackie the raccoon took out too many loans and gets burned at the stake. I love that.
And
I love this little character.
in the story that they were telling, showing the storybook about Silverwolf and
Yeah.
stuff, there was an image of beastmen getting burned at the stake, and Silverwolf showed up to help them. So it's like I was like, dang, that's kind of morbid. And then they
Yeah.
put her up on Jackie up on a stake, and I was like,
Nope, this is happening.
Okay, we're doing that now. This
Yeah.
happens now.
Man, if they would have got me, they didn't get me. My loans.
They did when they did the flashback with Michiru and Nazuna, like at the park.
Mhm.
Immediately foreshadowed that they weren't going to be friends forever. When Michiru goes, let's both be the best at what we do and walk our own paths.
She kind of spelled it out for you, Michiru. Like
She said it herself, and then when she comes back into the picture, she's acting all surprised. Like, I mean, the way things ended between them after her coming back into the picture, I get that because she kind of like just got kidnapped and like disappeared, and it became like an open-ended thread.
mhm.
Michiru's in this mindset that like, oh, we are back. Like, let's pick up the
We are
thread where we
so
left
back.
off. We are
Yeah.
so back. But like for Nazuna, like it wasn't the thread. It has now become the thread did not end. This was me on my path. It's the second you see her as like the leader of a freaking cult, man. Like that's what I'm just saying. Like when she had her old, this is basically being a pop idol. I was like, yeah, I got that from the start of the show, or not the
I
start of the
buy
show,
it.
the start of the episode. Like
Yeah.
when the second she came back, and I thought she was gonna be more overtly like rejectful of Michiru, and it's like I don't want to even risk my chances of like everybody finding out my real life or anything like that. Like I thought that was going to be it, and I was surprised to see Nazuna be so initially friendly because I thought it was going to be like a hard rejection.
But that goes to my mind because like I instantly was okay with the way she was acting because I
Yeah,
know the kind of person she is. Like she I didn't want to see it, but like I knew Nazuna was gonna use Michiru like to do something. And that's kind of her, that's the personality that I got from that flashback as well. It's like I'm gonna get to the top no matter what.
yep,
I know, and I'm
exactly.
kind of saying it, not really. You don't really understand it, but I'm saying that I'm gonna get there. And if I have to step on you, then that's fine with me. I'm okay with that. You're my friend now because maybe I can use you somehow, or I like the company. And that I know that you're not shooting for the same thing as I am. So like
You're not my
you're not my
competition.
you're not my competition. So it's like I knew immediately from the flashback the kind of person she is, which they did really well. And the way she was, I'm like, no, she's being that nice. Like she could go the way that you were saying, is that like be super like, no, I don't want them finding out that I was this before. But like I think the cult people are already wrapped up in
That's
it. So
fair.
it's not a big
That's very
deal
fair.
if they figure it out. But she instantly was just like super nice, and she knew that with this previous life she lived and the connection with Michiru, and now she's here, that something could happen. She could use her in some way, and I really do believe that she was not what Michiru wanted from the start. And that kind of
It
sucks.
wasn't. You don't think it was like, oh my god, I'm so excited to see Michiru, my friend. You think it was, oh my god, I'm so glad to see I know somebody in the city already. Is that
I
kind of what you're
think
saying?
that's what
Because
it is.
that's after hearing you say that, that just planted that in my mind.
Yeah,
I
I
wasn't really
think
thinking that way before. I took her kindness as genuine initially, but now that even adds another layer on top of it.
no, I think she was just like, yes, this is gonna be easier than I thought. This is gonna be
Especially
like,
after she like calls out all of her behaviors.
yeah, like she
Yeah,
knew. She
damn, that sucks.
completely dressed her down at the end. Like she owns her, and it's like, yo,
Yeah,
that's crazy. But Nazuna claims to be the Silver Wolf incarnate, that she is the one, she's the leader of the Church of the Silver Wolf, pretty on the nose. Nazuna, again, this continues to happen, and I don't know if it's something, could be nothing, but Nazuna's shocked she's a Tanuki as well. Like she said, you're a Tanuki. So like this continues to happen. And I'm like, it could be what you said last time, where it's like it's a
yeah.
symbology of it, but like it's happened twice or three times now. And it's like, why is everybody shocked about this? What is this about?
It is interesting to just it makes a point to point it out. So it's
Yeah,
like, all right, I
I'm
caught it.
listening.
I caught
I'm listening.
it.
Nazuna is really a fox, but she's able to transform into the silver wolf, so she has some of the same capabilities as Michiru. Something is happening here. We don't really know. Nazuna did go to the research facility. She says that when she's talking to Michiru, that there was at some point she went to the research facility. Boris is the one that helped Nazuna out. Boris never takes off his mask, rescued her from the facility. And there's a lot going on with this Boris character, the one that's kind of whispering in her ear, kind of making some moves. He makes some big moves in 2 episodes from now or 1 episode from now, but they're planting the seeds for this Boris character.
When Michiru is asking to join the cult and he blinks, he has the eyes of a snake. I don't know if you got that.
Oh yeah. It goes like
the way his eye, yep,
like that.
So he's a snake beast man, or like a a viper or something.
Good old snake in the grass. But yeah, Michiru joins the cult. They're like, hey, I love the silver wolf too.
Wishes.
And then boom, we're in a cult. I didn't know it was that easy. That's dope. Dang.
I mean, have you ever seen people walk up to the Scientology building?
I walked by. Yeah, I guess so.
They're like just coming there, like, hey, come on
in.
Come see what we got going on.
That's true. Yeah, that happened. I think I was in California. I think it was in LA when I went, and I was like, just have this here? Like, bro, okay, chill. I'm just trying to get some cookies.
I'm just here to see the stars.
No, okay, so one thing that I'm on the fence of, because Nazuna, in some of what she's saying to Michiru, and what she's sort of saying at the end of it, and when they're like doing their, I think it was during their like little sleepover thing, that Nazuna thinks that she's offering real hope for the city, or real hope for Beastmen, by being the silver wolf. And I don't know if she believes that. I don't know if that's something that Boris is like instilling in her. I can't tell really, because she's saying it, but I know that
it sounds way too like rehearsed.
Yeah. Like, I think that's
it's very it's very zealotous, if that's the right word. It's just very like, it's so crazy for her to turn around, and when Michiru is like, oh, Boris is creepy, she's like, you're pushing your beliefs on me. And then Nazuna can turn around and have this whole tirade about how people need this thing because this is what beastmen need, and it's just like it's just very hypocritical, like, is what I'm saying. It's like you're doing what Michiru's doing, but you're trying to do that to an entire city, basically, like, whether or not they want it, you are pushing your beliefs onto other people. It's just with Michiru, her belief is that a creepy guy is creepy. In your case, it's you believe that everybody needs to think that you're some prophet of basically Beastman Jesus.
She has been reborn. Nazuna pretty much owns Michiru and tells her all her faults. Really, just straight, plain. This is what you do. This is what you think. This is how it makes you feel. And it's like, yo, and Michiru's like, yo, this is too much. What are you talking about? And Nazuna continues to say that she wanted to be an idol this whole time, and that's her goal. And what's better than being like the prophet, really? So she renames herself Desilude. Desilude is her name, and we get the information about how this all happened. That Nazuna was going to be hit from a passing truck, and it looks like Michiru tried to save her, really, and she even throws it back in her face.
Zombieland Saga, bro.
She was about like she was about to be a zombie. Just
literally pop idol about to get hit by a truck.
Dang. Yep, that's true. That's true. Yeah, so she even turns it around on Michiru, like, you're helping people that didn't ask for it or whatever, and kind of sort of blaming Michiru for like what happened to her, kind of like saying like, yo, I didn't ask for your help really, but like you gave it and now you feel all proud of yourself and everything. Like she dresses her down and it's like, whoa, 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 it's a lot. But really we see Michiru finally see Nazuna for the first time. Like this is not the person you thought I was. So it's jarring for her. Episode 7, Easy Albatross. What happens in episode 7?
A wandering albatross beastman crashes into Michiru's room while Chairman Allen arrives in the mayor's office. The beastman's name is Pinga, and they offer to take Michiru on a pleasure flight when they're spotted by Ogami. Michiru goes on to realize the complication with beastmen rights thanks to her chat with Pinga. Meanwhile, the Silver Wolf Order makes its moves to perform a demonstration in Anima City when Chairman Allen is needed to be saved by Nazuna.
She is the chosen one. This is another one where I was like, where are we going with this? What is this sort of thing? We have this albatross entering Japanese airspace, trying to immigrate like he was, how his kind did for many centuries or whatever. He said that this is, I am a bird and we have to do this because that's how we're born. And then now it's like, yo, I can't cross any borders without a passport. And it's like, yo, I just want to be a bird too. Jesus. But Albatross crash lands into Michiru. And you said Pinga. In the English version, they said Pingua.
Pingua.
I don't know. Was it Pingu? I wrote down Pingua.
I might have had it wrong.
It doesn't matter. But I was just like, okay. They kept saying Pingua, but just call him the Albatross. Crash lands into Michiru's room. A bird boy. That bird terrorist, apparently, question mark. They give us some information about Boris continuing down this road, that he joined the church and accelerated the spread, that he was the one that kind of took it up a notch, took it up to be like, this is sort of a big deal, and made it what it is now. They were also questioning that if one of them with Nazuna or Michiru infected each other with what they're calling Beastmanitis, which they keep saying, which is really funny.
They're saying Beastmanitis in the English.
Yeah, what do they call it?
They're saying Beastman disease.
They keep calling it Beastmanitis.
In the sub.
They said it at first as a joke.
This Beastman disease.
Beastmanitis. It's so much better. Watch the English for that, because we see Ogami like trying to be serious. He's like, Beastmanitis, and I'm like, what? It's so funny. We find out finally who the blonde guy is. Alan Silvasta. He's literally the guy. He's the guy here. Talks about the support for Anima City and refusing the Silver Wolf Church to keep them in the city. So there's like a huge anti-beastman front that's happening. How beastmen have the same rights as humans now. This whole, I get what they're trying to say. At the beginning, I wasn't completely sold on it, but then once we get to the meat of the episode, I'm like, okay, this is great. Like, this is great storytelling. This is an easy way to get the ideas out of what you're trying to say. Like, beastmen having to follow these certain rules now when their innate being does not cooperate with that. And it's really difficult. So I really like the crux of what they're trying to say in this episode about the albatross Pingua trying to,
because that's something that has happened over the course of history time and time again, when a stronger group of people decide to make laws that integrate this other group of people into the systems that they currently have, but they don't take into account the type of, like, it can be anything from like religious freedoms and expression of those religions that they shut down and say, like, no, you can't do that anymore. Now we're forcing you to do this. And that's kind of what Pingua is saying when he is flying with Michido on his back, saying, there are these things that are built into me. My dad did this. My dad's dad did this. My dad's dad's did, etc. My entire lineage has followed these winds, and now I am the first generation of a people that's being forced to act differently when this is baked into the person that I am.
And that's kind of where my mind went automatically, was sort of like the religious aspect of it, where it's like, hey, we'll allow you to do your thing, but you got to do it the way that we say you can. And it's like, well, no, like then that's not
A change that literally is not letting me do
yeah,
my thing, because that
yeah.
is my thing. What you're telling me not to do, that's the thing that makes it my thing. That's
And
the part of it.
like it is crazy. Hello, Cosmo, Zadigali, and Pappy Jules. We are here talking about BNA. Yeah, it's so cool to see that. And like, if people don't pick up on it and it's just a silly little show and it's like just fun little characters or whatever, that's great. That's what it is. It's telling you, hey, I'm this color blue. Cool. Okay, that's great. If you want to take it for blue, that's cool. If you want to look deeper into it and then see like, well, this has like some texture and like this has something else to it. There's some yellow in here. Whoa, there's some green here, whatever. That's what I'm really liking about the show, finding the different colors in this. And that's kind of what I like about any media, really, when they say one thing and it's like, if you get it, you get it. The implications, really. And it's great. I'm loving that part. But at the beginning, I was like, what the fuck is this bird doing? What's this bird doing? Apparently, the albatross is a terrorist. He has guns and stuff in his backpack. And Ogami ends up scratching the albatross. Michido ends up turning into a bird and she can fly. So we get so many things going on with Michido. She can do whatever she wants. Kazuo said, fill me with all the anime knowledge. Oh boy, you about to get filled. Pingua says that the bomb isn't lethal, that this is not. I thought at first they were just like pinning it on him. Like, I thought they were just this was going to be a nothing burger and they're just going to pin him for the bad guy because he's illegally there. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
But it turns out there's another bird terrorist in the town,
an even worse
city,
one,
on a different mission.
Another one called Meteor. And Meteor flies into the city. Meteor picks up Alan Silvassa, and Nazuna flies and shifts, saves Alan, and the heretics that she has welcome the change into the winged wolf Deselude. So it becomes this, oh my god, this, our magic wolf can fly. Yes, rather than giving it another thought. Another thing that Pingua does, he gives the dog tags of his fallen beastmen to Michiru to bury them, and kind of gives his it gives something to change Michiru, and I think we're seeing some sort of change in her as far as like how the city is.
I mean, I think that's it's when she. I think we capped off on the last episode with her being like, you know what, I want to see more. I want to see more of the city. So this is her getting to see more, because if she had left the second she had turned back into a human, these 4 episodes just don't happen. She doesn't meet Pingua. She doesn't realize that rights for beastmen doesn't mean equal rights for beastmen type deal. All these other things that are happening, the seedy sports betting world, and then finding out that her friend is actually a part of Beastmen society as well. She just wouldn't have been in the loop on any of these things. Because their information is separated from the information of the real world.
Dang, what? There's 2 informations out there. I didn't know that. But yeah, we get all that. Really good episode. It ended up, I really liked it. Liked where it went, and we're pushing towards something. Now I feel
I like how I after this episode, I did think Chairman Allen might have had something to do with the cult, but now I'm feeling like after his reaction in the next episode, I feel as though it's like he is kind of operating as his own thing. I think he's got his own goals, he's got his own things, like outs and whatever's going on with Michiru and her transformation stuff. Like he is definitely keeping a close eye on that for reasons that we are not completely aware about, other than that the fact at the medicine one of the scientists recognized her and like pulled up her file.
I think he does. I think he knows about them because from what Nazuna says, she went to the research facility, which is named Sylvasta Pharmaceuticals.
I think he knows about them. He has information on them, but I don't know if he's like, I don't think they're working
together.
I don't think they're
which is funny. I don't think he's behind the whole Church of the Silver Wolf thing. He's like, yo, I created this thing and I think that's one of them, whatever I created. But then he's like, oh dang, what's going on with this church thing now? She kind of went with them and he's like, okay, well, we gotta get ahead of this somehow.
Because whatever facility Nazuna got rescued from, like that Boris was at, it's like, how did Boris know that she was there? Type, like, you know, there's still a lot of questions, even though a lot of questions have been answered. The questions that lead.
Yeah, we get a lot of answers in this next episode. Episode 8, The Mole Rat Speaks. What happens in episode 8?
The Silver Wolf Order is accepted into the city due to Nazuna saving the chairman in front of the crowd. At the police station, Boris transforms one of the scientists into a monster, and Michiru and Ogami take him on and bring him to the shipping port away from people. Ogami is forced into a corner where he transforms in order to defeat the monster. Since Michiru now knows of the secret, Mayor Rose proceeds to tell her everything about Ogami's past and how he ended up becoming Silver Wolf, an immortal beastman of 1,000 years. How they met, and she discovers tampering in the DNA of the monster that was rampaging.
Oh my god. So the city accepts
that deoxyribonucleic acid, you know what I'm saying?
Is that the mitochondria or whatever? I don't know. I don't know the body.
The DNA is the powerhouse of
the BNA. Is that why the Beastman NA? The city accepts
That's crazy.
the religious group, the Church of the Silver Wolf. There's about 5,000 members there, and everybody's just loving those guys. Hell yeah, we got the Silver Wolf squad. Woo, we're fucking yikes! That 5,000 is gonna triple.
Yeah, it's like in the intro, in the opening, or in the ending, there's literally like DNA sequences that like show up on the screen, and yeah, that's it. That's the name. It's just now connecting for me. I don't know if you're joking about that,
because
but like
I thought about it.
I didn't realize that before. Maybe subconsciously, but I didn't.
Beastman.
It was like 2 + 2 was sitting there on my sheet, and I was just like, I'll get back to that question. God damn it. Sorry.
No, it's all good. Where am I? Oh, Boris goes to see the rhino guy, and Boris is up to something, but we find out very quickly that he was up to making this boy huge, a huge rhino and big old guy, and Ogami's having a hard time taking him down. This is the first time that we're seeing Ogami in his form, because we've seen him only be this form, have some trouble here trying to take him down. Michiru grows some wings, and then she grows even bigger wings. So we do know that she can alter her altered state, so she can be whatever really she needs. So that kind of is pretty good.
I love the short bit of when they were playing baseball and she was reaching for it, and then her arm just like gets a little long. Like she's just doing whatever she wants,
she's able to do whatever.
It's fine.
This episode was like a breath of fresh air because we haven't had any really actiony stuff really. But what really took me out was the huge rhino horde going through our wolf man. I was like, oh my god, if he's not the guy, it's over for this man, because he had a huge hole, and I was like, oh my god, they just cut me.
He had a comically large hole through his entire body. It looked like he was standing point blank at like a pirate ship's
Yeah,
cannon or
literally
something.
cannonball sized hole. And this rhino is still mutating. He that boy got crushed. He was just getting hecked every which way.
Got split in four.
What's up?
Split in four. He got split
Yeah,
in four.
yeah.
The rhino
Oh
guy,
yeah.
right?
So I was talking about Ogami. Ogami was getting crushed.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, he got
He got
hacked. Sorry,
handled.
yeah, he got hacked. And then Michiru was about to get pretty messed up too, because I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Ogami's immortal. Michiru isn't. Like, let's not.
But do we know that before that?
Well, do we know that for sure?
I mean,
Do we know Ogami's immortal?
yeah, but we didn't know that really.
I mean, he has endured so much in other
Yeah.
scenarios. Like, I'm just like, he has to. There's that one line somewhere that like says something about an immortal body. I think it's chairman. After the chairman sees them tumble all the way off of the meta center, and Ogami kind of like get up and walk it off. He's like, "Oh, that guy's got an immortal body, and she's got transforming powers."
I can't believe the one wolf we have in the show was the silver wolf.
Can we?
He took off his collar, became the silver wolf, and I was like, no, of course, this was the guy. We've only seen him. It's already episode 8. Come on, he was the silver wolf. He blasted his arms off. Blasted like you said, just fucking dealt with the rhino. Brother got split into pieces. We get the story.
Oh my!
Yeah. We get the mayor. This is what they're kind of alluding to with the title, "The Mole Rat Speaks." The mayor tells the entire story of Ogami. He's been alive for 1,000 years, stopped aging after he became the Silver Wolf. I really liked the art change in this whole sort of thing, because the art changed,
Yes.
and it was like
it was very storybook.
I love when stories do this.
Again, like, I mean, yeah, it's like they're at the start of the last episode, it was literally a storybook, but this is like storybook inspired animation.
It was really great.
You know,
we hear about Nirvasil, a place where only beastmen lived, and they were normal. Beastmen coexisted with humans. It was all good until the humans attacked. They killed his entire clan, tried to kill him too, but somehow he became the Silver Wolf. The Blood of 2000 gave him power of immortality. He killed many, but never found the general. In some countries tried to use beastmen as weapons, but he was helping everybody out. But then he became afraid of his own strength. And also we find out that the crow is genetically modified and has a longer lifespan. I like we got some backstory for our little crow boy. Love that guy.
It's like, yeah, this guy's genetically modified. Didn't need to know that. Thanks for letting me know. I appreciate that fact.
Okay, that's cool. He's just gonna be here.
Now I know he's gonna live a long and happy life, and I'm happy. Just flying around. I do really like the crow, because there are multiple times where like one of the my favorite times when it happened was after the baseball coach got dunked and left by that mob boss, and he was just sitting there like, what did I do to deserve this life? The bird, the crow, Kudo, he flies in and rests next to him, and for me that's like, they don't have to. It's like, for me, it's telling that Ogami is there. Ogami knows what's going on. He's got his eye on you. If something had gone wrong and he thought you were gonna die, he probably would have stepped in and stopped those guys.
That's nice as a little indicator. Like, even having a story about the crow. If you see the crow, you know that you're protected by the Silver Wolf or something. Yeah, like kind of some lore, a little bit of lore. We learn about the mayor that she's the first beastman to ever earn a doctorate, and by the end, Sylvasta's working on the transformation of BNA. So there is something that Sylvasta is working on. We don't know the answers here. I'm ready to know. I want to know what's going on in the city. Ended up not liking the way Anima City is, really, ultimately, but it is just a normal city. I don't know I mean, I understand that if it was a utopia,
Like Michi just said, there's a lot of, bad and shitty people, but there's also people that are willing to help you out and watch your back.
yeah, I think if it was some sort of a utopia, there wouldn't be any story to tell. And I really, I do
Exactly.
think
We need conflict to drive the
no,
plot of our
no,
story.
just make them,
Otherwise, you just have grown-ups.
just make them play baseball every day, baseball arc. Really, Matt. What are your predictions for the last 4 episodes?
Definitely that, Michiru and Nazuna, like we have to get some sort of reveal on how these two friends that grew up to some degree with each other that were humans just became beastmen out of nowhere when we have had the kind of like the set thing that like, oh no, humans and beastmen are two different things and it's not something that just happens. So it's like, all right, then like hands have gotten in the mix and there have things have happened that have forced like our characters, like Michiru and Nazuna specifically, to be in the situations that they're at right now, because their stories are definitely the two most prevalent, with Michiru running off to tell Nazuna that Ogami is who he is, where he the mayor's like, are you okay with that? And he's like, I mean, if I stop her, she's just gonna go do it
Yeah,
anyways. Like, I love how he's learning, how he's being more understanding of her as a character. But yeah, it's definitely like, I mean, I don't know what my ultimate prediction is, but like somehow the chairman Allen, it was him or somebody that like preceded him, and he has now been the person making the observations on the experiment.
I yeah,
Certain, let's see what happens if we try to apply beastmen genetics into human beings or
yeah,
something, because like you have Michiru that's doing the whole transforming thing, and then you have Nazuna who has the full wolf mode, and Ogami's going, oh, they're going like, I don't even they're going Super Saiyan. Not everybody can
yeah,
go Super Saiyan. And then we get, oh, he knows that because he can go Super Saiyan. So we've got two Saiyans, and then we have like this other, whatever is going on with Michiru, but maybe she can go full Saiyan too. It's just she hasn't, anytime she's like, I need to do this, I need to do it, it happens. It's like she wills it into happening, and she hasn't tried to will that into
yeah.
happening, except maybe the moment when the thing was about to crush her. That could have been a trigger moment, but then Ogami helped too soon, maybe. I don't know.
I want to. One thing I do want an answer for is like why Ogami is the way he is. I really hope this has some connection to what is going on now. Um,
Why the way he is
he's
in
the silver
like
wolf that
how
is
he,
immortal, and he's here for a reason. Maybe this is his reason to continue and make sure the Beastman bloodline stays pure or something, or I don't know. I don't even know if that's a great reason.
then it's also kind of it also question, I mean, it he's obviously not, again, omnipresent, even though he's a powerful immortal individual. He can only be at one place at one time doing so many things, and that's also put like kind of like, how come you let the dodos go extinct in that baseball game? Like, shouldn't you have been on like beastmen watch for the
Yeah.
endangered or extinct
Why
beastmen
aren't you
species? I don't know,
why aren't you
maybe.
Batman? Like why aren't you Batmaning in a cave, have cameras and whatever. I get that you're working with the mayor directly, but like, yo, you could do a better job here if this is what you're trying to do. But yeah, I definitely think there was some tampering, probably from the humans to be like, yo, what if we're human, but we have beast DNA in us? It makes us stronger. But we're human. We're not beastmen, but we have beastman DNA. But we're human. Remember, we're better than them. So
Evolutionarily, we are humans that have been genetically modified with the code of beastmen.
I think that's something
If we speaking scientifically,
really. And then that could,
which the show continues to try to like pose kind of like this scientific, like a hard science layer to everything that's been going on. The second they kind of had that mayor give that rehearsed presentation, it was like, okay, we're bringing hard science and rules into the the picture. This isn't like that there it's magical. This is scientific. This is genetic. This is these things that exist.
but
In
then
the
I want to
universe.
know how Nazuna is going to play into this as well, because we have essentially 3 or 4 things happening. We have the existence of the silver wolf being a thing that's been throughout, that the silver wolf is real. This is the thing that is happening in our world. Nazuna being the leader of this cult, and we have Alan, who is looking into what is happening with Beast DNA, but also the mayor. I hope the mayor. I mean, from what I can tell so far, the mayor is on the good side, but she was playing it a little close with Alan there and his pharmaceutical company, because I was like, we'll see what happens. So there's like a lot of different things going on. I really hope this conforms into one thing and we get a finality to it, because this is the end of the season and I want to feel satisfied with this. I know probably not all my questions will be answered.
Yeah, especially after finding out that there's like that continuation manga series and that the second season hasn't been confirmed yet, but there's planning on it. So I just hope it ends at a point where I have enough answered. Like, there's the initial core intrigue, and I need enough of that core intrigue to be answered by the end of the first season. And those that, like, now that my core intrigue of this season is solved, like, what do the answers kind of like bridge into to be the intrigue setup for like future, like the next season? Am I satisfied with what with what was on my plate at the end of the first season, or do I feel like it was all sides and no?
But like,
main?
also, how does this reflect on our world? Like, what is the ultimate story that they're trying to tell to us about us? Because we get these little glimpses of the storytelling of and parallels between our world, and like ultimately, what was the story trying to say here about us and our society? So I hopefully it does hit on that end. But Matt, when you're not altering your BNA, where can they find you on the internet?
You can follow me on my YouTube at Matt_Galley, or on my socials on Threads and Instagram. Just add an ITS at the front, make it's Matt_Galley. Jules, when we're not here being slaves to the Silver Wolf Order, where can the people find
At
you?
JulesTheHuman, at JulesTheHuman on all social media. I just been mainly posting on Instagram, so follow me on there. Don't forget, if you are watching this later on and you're like, man, I want them to check out this anime, $5 super chat on YouTube, 500 bits on Twitch, gets you an anime added to the anime chest, and we'll watch it down the road in the future. But next week, episode 9 through 12, the end of BNA. We are done with BNA next week. We're going to give our final thoughts. We're going to rank the anime and our ranking board here, tell you whether it's worth it, whether you should check it out. But after that, we're going to pick a brand new anime. So stick around for that. Come back next week, and we'll see you then.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
Bye.